Schroeder ahead to Siakam.
Stop ball.
Corner, nope. OG passes it up, back down low to Siakam. And they whirl it around. Oh, one too many passes. The Raptors, somebody's got to shoot the ball. Tobias getting interference by Joel.
Well, through 2 games, it seems like Nick Nurse's Philadelphia 76ers have the Toronto Raptors number as they beat them 114-99 with the Raptors on the road on the second night of a back-to-back, despite a valiant effort from Scottie Barnes and crew. In fact, Barnes scored 12 of the Raptors' first 17 points, and the Raptors themselves enjoyed a good shooting night, scoring 40% of their shots from behind the arc, but ultimately, it wasn't enough.
I thought that for Milwaukee game, we reacted after a couple of losses. We also got to learn how to react after winning a game and bringing it next night as well. I thought that we started the game, we did not have that extra pop. I thought that Scottie had really good pop to start the game, but we need everything. And we are the team that really depends on every single player that touches the floor to bring value to the team. And tonight we just did not have enough. Give credit to them, they're a great team.
The Raptors' half-court offense continued to struggle, and that was because of the dominant interior presence of one Joel Embiid. With him on the floor, they were unable to carve out any advantages, and with that big interior presence down low, that seems to be a reoccurring theme for why the Raptors continue to struggle in the half-court.
I didn't think that we handled well their pressure. We had a problem to get in our offense. We over-dribbled the ball several times. We still had 28. Actually, we got 30 assists tonight. But we just did not get with enough force early in the game. Our 19 turnovers for 23 points was a big deal breaker.
They just came out there. We had some runs, we had some good moments, but they just came out there and played with more energy. Their defense they picked up on defense and caused us to get some turnovers, us to get stagnant on offense, and it just really changed the game.
In the second half, the Raptors tried valiantly to claw back in this game with some good efforts from Scottie Barnes and OG Anunoby, who had 16 points on 12 shots and played some phenomenal defense on Embiid, but ultimately they couldn't get enough from anybody else to stop the two-man duo of Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, we just got to lock in and play defense. I feel like that's just our main thing, just continue to stay locked in on defense, and then even on offense, man, we just got to keep trying to find ourselves and keep moving the ball and just stick to what we're doing. We still had 30 assists today, but we just got to continue to get better and improve.
The Raptors' bench struggles continued tonight with Gary Trent Jr., Grady Dick, Chris Boucher, and Malachi Flynn all performing negative nights. And if that's going to continue to be a thorn in the Raptors' side, they're not going to be competitive against better teams like the Sixers. Now, the silver lining in this one was Scottie Barnes, who put up 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, and continues to ascend as the Raptors' star this season, showing off his improvements as a shooter, creator, and defender. Now, I want to dive into Barnes deep next week on sdpn.ca, but today, I want to tackle the Pascal Siakam debate. Siakam struggled against the Sixers once again, scoring 10 points on 11 shots, and while I think some of that has to do with Nick Nurse's game plan, I think the Raptors aren't prioritizing and maximizing Siakam's skill set on the offensive end. So let's dive into the film room and discuss. So I mentioned on Twitter last night that Pascal Siakam in this game had a usage percentage of 18.1%. That would be in line with guys like Duncan Robinson, Jalen Suggs, Tobias Harris, and is about 2 or 3% lower than guys like Cameron Johnson, who are still role players, but like they're high-level role players. Pascal Siakam in this game was used as a diversion in a lot of actions, and shout out to Caitlin Cooper, who brought up the clip online. They are sort of using him away from the ball a lot, but they're also using him in a way that isn't close to the skill set that maximizes what he is. We've already seen throughout the season that they're using him in ghost screen actions, trying to get him to be this pick and pop threat, which, yes, has worked out well because he's shot the ball well, but ultimately doesn't maximize on the type of player that Pascal Siakam, this all-NBA creator, is. There were certain areas in this game in which Pascal could have been more aggressive, but there were also some things that the Sixers did that made it tough on him. And also, generally, it seems like the Raptors aren't prioritizing Siakam's skill set in their offense. Let's look at it. First, from the Sixers side of things, anytime Siakam caught the ball in the high to mid post, it was an automatic double team. That meant that the Raptors could, one, create an advantage through it, but still, they weren't trying to let Siakam be the scorer in this situation. You could see that they constantly sent help, and that means that, hey, they're going to crowd him, they're going to shadow him a ton, so it's not him beating them. That is a Nick Nurse plan. That is a Nick Nurse thing that he does a lot. Even in the post here, despite getting the mismatch, multiple bodies on Siakam, he has to kick it out to Schroeder for the three. Same thing here on the catch. They send help. The Sixers defense has to rotate. They do a great job of rotating. The Sixers defense tonight was just phenomenal with their game plan. And right here, even at above the break, they're double teaming Siakam just to get the ball out of his hands. And ultimately, he is their best scorer. He is their best isolation scorer still. And the Sixers knew this going into it. Nick Nurse knew this going into it. So much like Nick Nurse did when he was on the Raptors, taking away that star player, he did that a lot tonight. But more generally, Siakam is being used as a diversion. Here, a flare screen that is set up for Siakam. Again, the Sixers recover well, but ultimately he's mostly being used as a decoy, if you will, in the Raptors' offensive system, or he's being camped out in the corner, which doesn't really maximize the type of player he is. Again, he was a decent corner three shooter last season, but ultimately that's not how you want to utilize your all-NBA offensive hub. Once again, over here, he is the decoy, the strong side cut in order to open up the shot for Gary Trent Jr. And they're getting Siakam to move away from the ball a lot in these actions. Right here, he kind of slides down to the corner as the action goes down, and usually that's, you know, a role that is for either OG Anunoby or Gary Trent Jr., but they're having Siakam be in these situations because they've replaced Siakam's usage with Scottie Barnes, and they've replaced where Siakam is in these initial sets with where Scottie Barnes would usually be. Scottie was camped out in the corner a lot last season. Now we're seeing Siakam be in that position this season. And once again, shout out to Caitlin Cooper for bringing this up. But yeah, this is the possession that she posted on Twitter. You see that, like, yes, he is essentially the weak side cut in order to take away the help at the nail and essentially be able to take away some of the rim presence of Joel Embiid. But one, it does nothing. And two, that isn't really the way you want to use Pascal. And even if you do want to use him that way, there are better ways to achieve this and maybe find him in spots that maximize him. Darko Rajakovic, to start the season, said that there's a chance for Pascal Siakam to be more efficient in this offense, to find better shots. And ultimately, what he may have been implying was these type of shots. Corner threes, above the break threes, catch and shoot opportunities where he doesn't have to really create for himself as much. And while I think there is some merit to that, some merit into putting him in these positions where he can be more of an off-ball player, more of an off-ball cutter, shooter, etc., he does not work well when he is just camped out on the other side of the corner and he's not involved or engaged in the action. Again, another Caitlin Cooper clip, I believe, from the Blazers game, but the Raptors weren't playing with any sort of intention. And I think intention is a huge part of offense because there has to be a purpose to what you're doing. There has to be intention to what you're trying to achieve in any given offensive possession. And when it comes to the Raptors, their intentions are clear because it doesn't seem like they're looking to prioritize Pascal Siakam. Now, that might be a philosophical change. It might be something they're trying to change within the team. Ultimately, probably some of that has to do with the contract negotiations and, the trade stuff. But, it kind of seems like the Raptors didn't expect Pascal Siakam to be on this team to enter this season. And with all the trade rumors and everything that happened this summer, they probably didn't expect for him to be on this team this season. And probably Darko Rajakovic didn't expect him to be on this team this season. So there's no real role for him in the offense right now. And how they adjust to that, how they figure out that role out, is going to be very key. Because from what we've seen, the Raptors' half-court struggles, when the going has gotten tough, they have leaned in on Pascal Siakam being your post hub, on Pascal Siakam being this isolation scorer for you. And in those moments, their half-court offense actually hasn't looked that bad. It's still bad, but it's not 75 points per 100 possessions bad. So ultimately, when they need to get a bucket, they have leaned on Pascal.
And it doesn't make sense to go away from that or to not prioritize that unless you have different intentions. Unless your intention is to not prioritize that, to not have the most successful offense you can possibly have. And it's more to develop Scottie Barnes, to develop Grady Dick, to develop OG Anunoby, guys who you are trying to maximize, guys who you are trying to put in positions to succeed. So it's tough. It's a double-edged sword here. Siakam could be more aggressive. I think there are moments in the game where he can kind of grab the ball and be that isolation scorer a little bit more. But ultimately, yes, the Raptors offense isn't prioritizing him a ton, and the 18.1% usage sort of shows that point. Again, the Sixers did a great job of getting the ball out of his hands. He had 6 assists tonight because of that. But ultimately, it's both. It's great defensive game plan, him not being aggressive as much maybe, and also the Raptors not necessarily looking for Siakam to be that guy, to be that high usage guy. But let me know what you guys think about all of it. The game, how they're looking so far, how Siakam's looking. And we'll talk to you guys later on Sunday when we watch Victor Wembanyama. I'm so excited for it. So, peace out.